Welcome to Built for This, the podcast where real estate meets real life skills. Hosted by Andrea Lane and Alyssa Bicar, each episode features investors turning their unique edge into long-term rental success.
Hello, and welcome to the Built for This podcast, highlighting real success from real people who are involved in real estate. I am your co-host, Alyssa Bicar, the consultress, here with the fabulous, the fearless real estate investor, Andrea Lane, my partner in crime, as well as mentor to many. Who do we have for them today, Andrea?
So today we have Amy Brooke, and I'm really excited because she's from Canada. We usually speak to only people in the United States, so this is pretty cool. She owns 20 units in the Ontario area. And I know that's what we'll understand here. And she self-manages them. So she does the property management and she's working on new builds. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Amy, I'm really excited to have you and thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat.
So my very first question is the same all the time. Why'd you get into real estate?
Yeah, great question. So I'm originally from the UK, by the way. We moved to Canada about 14 years ago, in case you're wondering with the accent. But we got into real estate, I say we, myself and my husband, but it started with me back when I was 19. That's when I bought my first property back in the UK. And it came from my mum saying to me, you need an extra property for your retirement fund, because by the time you get older, there'll not be any retirement fund. So that was good advice, I think, back then.
Really good advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that kind of stuck with me. And I did buy my first property to actually live in. And then I sold that. And then I bought another one to live in. And that became the one that I rented out. So then I met my husband and we bought another one quickly after. So we had one property for a long time in the UK, and then we purchased another. And I didn't know what I was doing back then. And to be honest, it was more because in the UK, the mortgages are on a buy-to-let, which means it's only interest only. And it really frustrated me, that thinking, well, it's not paying down the mortgage. So it stopped me even looking into it. But what we did do instead is we invested money into our primary, and I thought, well, at least we can push and add value there. So that's kind of what we did when we were in the UK. When we moved to Canada, we started from scratch with buying as primary. Still didn't really look into real estate. And then the aha moment came for me when we really got stuck into it was about 6 years ago now. And it was a real turning point that I remember so vividly. And we said, you know what, we got to make a change in our lives. And I'd always been interested in real estate, and that's when I just started diving into it and learning. Luckily for us, the way that we did it is we built up a big HELOC by doing what we'd done with our primary. So we realized we could use that. So that was our starting point. And in our first year, we bought 7 properties.
Wow.
Wouldn't recommend that though.
Did you buy them? Did you buy them as a portfolio, or did you buy 7 individual properties?
7 individual properties.
Yeah.
They were all Burr properties, all needed value add. My just growing back, and yeah, it was quite the journey. But we were determined, and we had a vision. And we had a vision. Once I'd learned it, it was like this spark of, oh my gosh, what have I been doing? Let's move quick. And we did this with dragging around a 1.5-year-old at the time as well. He came everywhere with us. We don't have family in Canada, so we did a lot of sweat equity, running around at weekends. We both worked full-time in very busy, stressful corporate jobs at the same time. But that was a blessing because that really helped us to get the mortgages. And that was a whole new strategy that we had to learn on. When you do something so quickly, you have to have a financing strategy, and we learned that on the go. So we were very lucky that we were like good income earners, and we could kind of get ourselves out of that. But it was challenging at times because we did a few on private mortgages, we did a few using as HELOC, straight to A lenders, 20% down, and we turned them all around. And since then, we've bought a couple more properties, but we've mainly focused on conversions. So the 7 that we bought, 6 of those had the opportunity to add units. as well. And so we did that. We added garden suites. We've done conversions. We did a church conversion to a fourplex. We've done single family to triplex conversion. So that's really been our thing on really pushing and adding value. And then we decided that the property management side was very challenging actually with a property manager. And even though it's been a very difficult thing to create our own property management business, we've been able to kind of move on that and do it ourselves. So it's harder work, but it's actually more fulfilling.
I mean, where do we start with the questions? Because so 7 acquisitions all at once, and then trying to stabilize. Good Lord. Holy moly. That's like drinking from a fire hose and trying to call it hydration.
We did 42 at one time. So I know the challenges you faced.
Yeah, I mean, that's also inspirational. So like one of the things that resonated for me about the story I heard was the mortgages were interest only and you never paid down the principal. And that was your first couple of deals in the UK was like, hang on a second, we're only paying for the privilege of borrowing this money to have the privilege of renting this place. Hold on, we need to find a better market where we can help have the rents paid down so that we can own it outright at some point, so that was one thing that rang my bell as I was listening, but also that it was partnership and that you walked into it with full-time jobs, doing this on the side, dragging your family around to make things work. So what most people think of as impossible, you've just turned it around and like, no, listen to my story. The impossible is possible. So while you were in the thick of it, bring me into like some of the challenges that you faced as you were kind of navigating that huge bite of the elephant that you took.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say that we started this journey, and this is something that's really meaningful to us now. We went through a journey of self-awareness and self-development and really understood ourselves before we got into this, and that's key. However, saying that, buying 7 properties in 1 year was very challenging, but in all honesty, it was a mindset thing. We had our heart set on 10. We actually felt unfulfilled that we only got to 7, but by the time we got to 7, we're like, oh my gosh. And one of those was an Airbnb to start with as well. We've actually sold that one now. But yeah, some of the challenges, I think, when we first got going, and we knew that we could use a HELOC, very quickly kind of working through the financing on that. I found that quite easy because it was like, okay, straight to a mortgage. We'd bought a lot of primaries in this time. We knew that process. Working with contractors, we knew that process because we'd done that in this time. Working, we added value in primary residences in the past. But the challenges really came, I think, for me, the stress levels came later on when I realized that you need a finance strategy and you cannot have, 3-4 properties on the go that have not fully been turned around and refinanced before buying the next one, because this all accumulates on your debt ratio income. And I didn't realize this, and I didn't realize the impact that it happened. And that's why I would with anybody now, you have to know what you've got available, and you have to know how much debt you can carry at one time before completing one and moving on to the next one. And I will always say that now. But luckily for us, we did have access to a big HELOC because we'd built that up over time with our primary residences, because we didn't know what we were doing in real estate back in the UK. But yeah, that's kind of that was the challenges for us. Also, I'll always say there's always going to be challenges navigating contractors and trades. And that's something, like I say, I think we really understood where our strengths and weaknesses was in that. And so we managed to navigate that. And a lot of people do say to us, well, how did you manage to do that so quickly, and how did you get contractors to work for you? And that's something that we knew about ourselves.
Oh,
Yeah,
Andrea.
that is a huge challenge for people. I mean, especially as investors, like we expect contractors to not charge us what they're going to charge a normal person. Like when you're doing 7 or 42 in a year, I want a good price because I'm paying you for a year's salary for all of you and your workers. And they come in with high prices, and then the ones that don't come in with high prices, they don't come in with the same ethics. So you walk this tiny road that you have to try to navigate, and so you understand by doing multiple at a time how difficult that can be.
Yeah, completely. And we, like, our passion is really helping people understand, what their purpose is, like what they are good at and their way of thinking. And it really comes down to leadership skills. And that's where you don't realize when, like, we didn't realize even when we kind of started on this journey that it was probably because of our leadership skills in the past that we managed to figure out, how to, orchestrate everybody and make things happen. And when you're kind of coming into this, like you're the CEO of your portfolio, of your business. And, there's areas that, you've got to figure out, well, what am I good at and what am I not good at? And that's where you can outsource these pieces. But even when you outsource them, you're still the owner, you're still the leader, you're the influencer to make this stuff happen.
And that's where one of the things we teach is all the time is real estate is a business, right? People buy a property thinking, it's their way to freedom, passive income, all that beautiful stuff. In reality, and 1 or 2 properties you can do that with. But if you want to build a portfolio, you need to build a business. So you need all the skills around it to be running a business. And so I appreciate what you're saying because it's so key to making sure you're able to build profitably and grow.
And entrepreneurship, man, it is the biggest personal development course known to man. You will bump your head, skin your knees, brush right up against that comfort zone and your personally imposed limitations and go, oh, is that me? Or is that something that I just assumed or took on from my upbringing? So I loved what you said about needing to support people in their leadership and how you brought that as your quote unquote unfair advantage from your life and career prior, that like, oh, we're looking at this from a firsthand view, building this investment business, that our leadership skills and our ability to empower and inspire other people to partner with us and do collaborations. It's very different than top-down thinking of, I'm the boss, do what I say. It's more like, I'm hiring you because you're good at what you do. Help me help you by making sure we're on the right timeline or have the right resources ready for you, or our financial strategy and payment structure matches how you do billing and payments in your business. And it's more of a collaborative negotiation, and learning that shift in mindset is sometimes very difficult, but in my experience of business was the grand pursuit for me that changed my entire identity in life. Is like, it's what challenges you to be more of yourself over time and to step into what your true genius zone is and what your lane is. And if you don't have that, or you are, hiding from that clarity, everything you do will bring you right back to that stopping point, right back to that place where your head meets the brick wall. You're like, oof, so, as you navigate building out your business in the next 6 to 12 months, where do you see kind of offering that kind of opportunity to yourself, your contractors, people that you work with in collaborative spaces, and folks that you inspire and serve?
So a bit about kind of, I guess, where we're going next. So we are doing a brand new build. We're venturing off into the world of development in Ontario. So that's something that I was always really interested in. So we're doing a brand new 8-unit build. We should be breaking ground early next year on that. So that's been a whole other learning all on its own. We've been to committee of adjustments, trying to get minor variances done and figuring out zoning and everything. So that's one direction that we're going in on the real estate side. But for us, at the start of our journey investing, before we bought that 7 properties, we knew that we wanted to get into real estate as a vehicle to figure out our purpose and how we give back. So it was never going to be our primary, but we wanted to like that. It's always going to be part of our lives completely. I love real estate, and it's an amazing investment vehicle. But for us, we've really dived into building our business now, which is Leadership in Life Coaching. And the name came from the fact that we realized through our career how important leadership skills are in all areas of life, at work, relationships, your side hustles, real estate. And it really came from that. And it really came from understanding who you are. And when you learn how to lead yourself, you can naturally start to lead others. And that's kind of what happens. So what we're building now and how we are helping other people is we have a monthly membership. And I also have like a process to go through. It's like a series of questions and exercises to really help somebody find their purpose. And when I say finding their purpose, a lot of people think of purpose and they think, well, I'm unhappy because I need to find my purpose. It comes back to actually understanding your own core motivators. And when you understand those, that's when you start understanding your thinking. And that's when you start understanding your personality. And then when you move, if you want to move into real estate, great. And that's when you really start understanding, well, okay, I know me, what am I good at? And how can I navigate through real estate? And there's lots of different opportunities. I mean, is active real estate the right thing to do? Is it the right thing for you to manage your own properties? Or, would it be better for you to be a passive investor or do joint ventures where you can really follow somebody closely? Like, there is so many different ways to get into real estate, and incredible ways. And you don't have to take the journey of an active investor and take it all on your back if the things that's going to bring you is not your core motivator. And for us, this is such an important piece to learn first before you move on.
Oh, you took the words right out of Andrea's mouth.
That's time with us all the time. This is what we talk about and talk to people about. And so few people do. It's so important to understand those things. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, Amy, because it's not coming from me. It's coming from someone that I just met. That's so exciting.
I mean, and the thing is, like attracts like. So when you understand yourself, like you said, if you can lead yourself, you can then lead others. When you understand what you're good at, Andrea is, and I kind of ask all of the questions. Like you said, there's a series here. You have to understand what you're good at, what you like, what you want. And then, your strategy can come later. You can't just be like, I saw the latest pop whiz bang in real estate and it's, Airbnb arbitrage or whatever. And I'm going to do that. Like, that is ass backwards thinking, ladies and gents. Like, you have to start from the core of your motivation. Amy, I couldn't have said it better. I love what you're up to in the world. And so how can people find you and learn more and connect?
So probably the main thing right now is my Instagram. So it's AmyBrooke_life. I've literally just finished working on something. So I have actually got something that I'm going to be able to offer, which is an amazing starting point for learning your key motivators and your why. It's a very simple exercise to work through. I say simple, it's like a 30-day challenge, but then, as we know, 30 days is just the starting point. Like, there's so many people that are just in a place right now of, I hate my job, I hate my life, I need to get into real estate because I need passive income, whatever, and that's going to give me freedom. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have no idea that you're taking on a whole new business in life. Huh? Is that really what you want? So this is an amazing, just a 30-day starting point to really understand yourself on kind of, to make the right choices at the beginning. And I just see a point as well of moving through different areas. We've done Airbnb, we've done small multifamily, long-term rentals, we've actually done industrial. We had a big industrial project that we had to pull out of. So we've done different things, and that's fine once you get into it. But I think it was more knowing our strengths in that we are good with being active and how we lead to try those different things. So I think it's okay trying, because some people, I was adamant that I wanted to do Airbnb, and then when I did it, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to do Airbnb. That's not me at all. So but that's kind of like, we're also on LinkedIn. So myself and my husband, we work together. Our business we are building together. Our membership is together, and Yeah, so he's Nigel Brooke. We're both on LinkedIn as well, Amy Brooke and Nigel Brooke, and we're also on Facebook. But I think my Instagram is probably the key piece, the key area to find
So
us.
we do have to ask one more question before we say adieu. When you said you did A, B, C, and D, and I've been there and done it, I did one thing at a time, right? I wasn't trying to do my commercial at the same time I'm trying to do residential, at the same time I'm doing apartment houses. And that I think is key for people to recognize. Like you can try things, but you have to live in one lane for 6 months to a year. And I'm a firm believer, as Alyssa can attest to. What's your one shiny star for this period? That's it. You can't do anything else. I don't care if it's flipping, rehabbing, wholesaling, pick it and you got it. And
yeah, I agree. Yeah, we did that as well. We only did one. I like that sentence, one shiny star at one time. Yeah, that's because it's always that. It's the shiny object syndrome. But we did the same. It was one thing at one time. Like the 7 properties that we did were all small multifamily, were all conversions. So yes, they were all on there, but at least it was the same strategy.
Correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So good. So good. Listen, every single conversation that we have here, it invigorates and inspires me to go, oh, I've been there, or, ooh, I think I can take a page out of this book and incorporate it into my learning. So thank you so much for sharing your wisdom and your tips. And so if you don't know Amy Brooke yet, please go find her on Instagram at AmyBrooke_life. That's Brooke with an E at the end, Amy, Brooke. And so you heard it here. Thanks a million for spending some time with us today. We are the Built for This podcast. We have another amazing guest lined up right after this, so don't go away.
This wraps another episode of Built for This. If you're a real estate investor with a unique edge, apply to join us at builtforthisshow.com/guest.